On this episode, we're asking a very big question. Is it possible? Is it really possible to be a great mother or father and be a top producer? Is it possible to juggle all of the things? And if so, how? How do you do it? How do you juggle school and meals and activities and quality time with your kids, quality time with your spouse, and quality time with your clients? How do you stay attentive? How do you get them into the homes that they need to see quickly and write offers and answer their questions while being there for your kids? Is it possible? Well, today we're bringing on Marina Tolentino from Hawaii. She is a super mom and super agent out there in Oahu, who is running multiple businesses, selling a crap load of homes, and she is a present parent. She is there for her kids. She is active in their lives and somehow juggles all of this. Wait until you hear Marina's schedule and all of the different things that she's juggling. It exhausts me just hearing, but she's doing it, and she has some tips for you on how to manage and juggle all of the stuff in your life. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Massive Agent Podcast, episode 266. And we have a hell of an episode today asking a very big question, a very bold question. Can you be a great mother or father and be a top producer? And if so, how? How do you juggle all of it? And we're bringing on a super agent, super mom, super wife out of Hawaii, Marina Tolentino, who is juggling all of this and more. She's an attentive parent. She's a great mother. She's a great spouse. She is a great real estate agent who is one of the top producers in Hawaii. And she runs a honey company. She's the owner of Tolentino Honey Company. She's the director of ops for the Collab. She is head of sales for the Ferris Team Hawaii. She's a YouTuber. And she's been doing all this in less than 3 years as a real estate agent. And she has some really great tips, productivity tips, and honestly mindset mindset tips and perspective for how to approach life when you are juggling so many things. A little spoiler alert, she is a human just like everyone else. She only has 24 hours in the day, just like you, just like me. But what she does with them and the attitude that she approaches each day with is what allows her to do so much with the same amount of time. So if that little introduction exhausted you just hearing, I get it. You're going to be exhausted even more hearing all the stuff she's up to, but she makes it happen. So if she makes it happen, it must be possible. And I'm excited for you to hear from Marina today. She is a rising star in the real estate industry, and she is just one of the best humans you'll ever meet. So super excited to introduce Marina here in a second. Something I'm super excited about that I didn't realize until I was crunching some numbers and looking at some analytics earlier today. But over the last 2 months, we have more than doubled, not quite 3 times. We've more than doubled the size of the Massive Agent Society. And it's been super cool. In just over the last 2 months, we've doubled the Massive Agent Society. And the good news is the society is still open for not quite a full week. We close on February 1st. So we're open for new members until February 1st. Then we close it down and we'll open again later on in the year. But honestly, guys, the Massive Agent Society is my coaching group. This is where you get direct access to me. You get one-on-one access with me. You get group coaching. There's trainings, there's videos, there's scripts, there's everything, okay? You owe it to yourself to see what makes the Massive Agent Society so powerful and so attractive to so many other like-minded agents from all around the country, right? Agents like Edward, who got a listing after his 4th day in the group, just following our 7-day social media jumpstart system. His 4th day, he got a listing. And Brian, a new agent in Canada, got his first client in about 2 weeks following our system. And then Nikki in Iowa got 9 deals under contract in just a 45-day period following the Massive Agent Social Bootcamp bonus training within the society, because you get bonus trainings in addition to the main group as well. Yeah, 9 deals in 45 days. Crazy. So the real question to ask yourself, is it more expensive to join the society or is it more expensive to not? Serious question, right? Most agents who don't join, even though they want to, they think that they're saving money. They see it as an expense. I promise you, as someone who's spent multiple 6 figures now on masterminds and coaches and trainings and programs, it is such a hack when you can invest a little bit of money to just shorten the amount of time it takes to get results, because someone else who's already done the thing you're trying to do just gives you the blueprint. They're like, hey, do these things now. They hold your hand through it, and you get it, rather than beating your head against the wall for the next year, 2 years, trying to figure it out yourself. Just invest a little bit of money to get the results now. And so the agents that are doing that are getting the results now. So all you need to do to find out what this program is all about, go over to massiveagentsociety.com and make sure you join before it closes here in just the next few days. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. You're going to be like, wow, this really is an investment, not an expense. And you'll see what I mean by it. Massiveagentsociety.com. And if you're serious about hitting your goals this year, you can't afford to make things harder than they have to be. You can't be trying to do business and grow with one hand tied behind your back. Okay. You need the Massive Agent Society, and you need Follow Up Boss, quite honestly. The CRM and business growth platform used by damn near every major agent, major team that's selling all the homes. Because you're a listener of the Massive Agent podcast, Follow Up Boss will give you a 30-day free trial, and they don't even ask for a credit card. So try Follow Up Boss for free for 30 days and see for yourself why the vast majority of top producers are all using Follow Up Boss. All you need to do is go to massiveagentpodcast.com/followupboss to start your trial right now. And use the cheat code that so many agents around the country are using to stay ahead of the fast changing real estate market. I mean, it's crazy how fast shit's changing. Rates are going up, rates are coming down. We as professionals need to stay on top of this shit, which is hard, right? Like, so where do you find the info? Like, isn't there someone that could just give you the information, like tell you what you need to know, what you need to expect? Well, yes, it's called Keeping Current Matters. They do all of the heavy lifting for you. And all of the top producers that are the best educators, the knowledge brokers, the advisors in their community, they're all using KCM as well. So get a free trial of KCM, Keeping Current Matters, today by going to trykcm.com/bam. And because you know your shit, you will become the go-to real estate advisor in your market as well. It is time to talk with Marina Tolentino out of Oahu, Hawaii, she's become one of my favorite people in real estate because she's just such a doer. She does so much. She gets so much accomplished, and she's so willing to help other agents. And she's such a great teacher. So let's jump into it right now and find out how she's juggling motherhood, running a top producing real estate team, running a honey company. Like she's into bees and honey and all this cool stuff. Like really cool. They have this big, it's not a vineyard. What is it? The property with all the bees, right? And all the beehives and stuff. I should ask her what that's called. But they own this big property with all these bees there on Oahu. So cool. And she's going to give you some hacks for how to juggle it all and to be productive and actually have success while juggling all these different things. Because we also have lives, don't we? She's going to teach you how to thrive in spite of everything you have going on, and in a way because of it. So let's jump into our talk right now with Marina Tolentino out of Oahu, Hawaii right now. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Massive Agent Podcast. I'm here with Marina Tolentino, one of our amazing superstar agents in Hawaii, and she is juggling more things than any of us could, even handle thinking about, let alone doing, and she's doing it very well. So I wanted to have Marina on the show because she's selling a bunch of homes. She's taking care of her kids. She's running a honey company, and she's just doing so many things well. Most of us can't do one thing well. So Marina, welcome to the Massive Agent Podcast. How's it going?
Hi, I'm so good. I'm stoked to be here. We were saying a little bit before the show, but I've literally watched you and listened since before I got licensed. So it's fun to full circle moment. It really is.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so you were listening before we started working together?
Yeah. So when I was doing my test,
we're business partners with how our team works.
Yeah, I was studying for the license and then started interviewing, and it was through the interview with Travis and Nisa. That's how I found them, was through your podcast.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's so cool.
Hmm.
Wow. All right. It comes full circle. Well, you have definitely earned being here today. And, I was lucky enough to get to spend some time with you and see how you do things when I was in Honolulu. I think that was in September of last year,
Yeah.
which I got to get back there. Amazing, amazing island. But you are selling a bunch of homes and you're a relatively new agent. So, you know, above and beyond the intro that I gave you, how do you see yourself? How do you describe yourself? If I was to ask you, who is Marina Tolentino, what would you say to that?
That's a great question. And it's a hard one because I do so many things, but I would just say I pick something and I master the craft, but I always bring my relationships along for the ride, making sure that everyone's being served appropriately. And that includes my family, that includes my past spheres and stuff. And we just kind of like grow and evolve together. And so even though I've done multiple careers, I'm making sure that I'm like, everyone's along for the ride, if that makes sense. But now, I lead people. I teach people. That's what I'm passionate about. It's the most fulfilling part of my job. And that includes teaching clients about how to buy and sell houses. But I love being the educator. It's really fun.
Well, you're in a great role for that. So I love that you call yourself an educator, because far too many agents, I don't think they see themselves as that. When really, like, if you think of yourself as an educator or an advisor, like, you are just setting yourself up to help so many more people, because that's why they're hiring agents, right? They're not hiring Marina to open a door for them. They could have any chimp do that. Like, they hire you for a specific reason. How did you grow into that role? So first off, how long have you been in real estate, and how did you grow into this role of top producer in a relatively short period of time?
Yeah. And it's funny, as you're saying that, I'm kind of connecting the dots in my head. So I've been a realtor for 2.5 years. But before this, if you go way back, like 2011, I graduated with a degree in early childhood education. And I didn't even like connect the dots that that's education, duh. But I could be a preschool teacher if I wanted to. Tried that for a stint, didn't really love it. I was like, I'm going to save this part of me for when I have kids. But basically I became a wedding planner 12 years ago now. And I was an educator in that role too, where literally someone's just getting engaged and they're saying, help me through this process, hold my hand. And it's up to you to help educate them on all the possibilities and all the ways and the financial things and everything. And then fast forward again, when we started our honey company, this was 2017, I didn't know about the world of bees and immediately fell in love. And then automatically people in media started coming to me asking about beekeeping in Hawaii. What is it really like? What are the benefits of raw honey? And so again, you're educating. And then we started a rental company, same thing. I'm educating there, became a stager, was educating sellers on staging. And then now it's real estate. So it's like, it kind of all was this big puzzle piece that's come together.
So are you just a glutton for punishment, just adding all these new things onto your plate, or what's happening here? Because I'm exhausted just thinking about your schedule.
It's a dance of curiosity and the entrepreneur in me with the shiny object, but also when I see a really good thing and a really good idea, I can't walk away from it. So I make sure that I execute the vision, but then as it grows, I delegate it off, and I decide to level up and level up and level up and just move on from there.
And that's a very important point. So you are, from what I know about you, you are not someone that just like dips your toes in and like, oh, I'll try this thing and then quit, and then go over here and try this thing and then quit. Like you do the thing, and then you're like, okay, done this. Then you add something else onto it and achieve there. So like, have you always been wired that way?
I don't know, actually. I'm trying to think if there was like ever a moment. Actually, in our leadership retreat, we just went through this, like, what's one job you hated? The one thing I quit was being, like, the egg lady in the cafeteria at the dorm. That was, like, a good 6-month stint. But other than that, I think I have finished everything that I've ever wanted to do. And then you move on. You reach this fulfillment level in your career where it's like, okay, either I scale this and I'm going to take this in a different direction, or I move on to the next thing. And so I like having closure and knowing, like, okay, this thing is bagged and wrapped up, tied up with a bow. Let's move on to the next curiosity. And that's what's fun about real estate, is you can do that literally over and over and over and keep your license active and like grow all of these affiliates, and who knows what the world wants, you really can do a lot.
Yes, you can. And you're showing that. If you had to, like, how do you see yourself? Because you're wearing so many different hats. Are you like a real estate agent first? Are you the owner of a honey company first, and real estate's just kind of a side thing? Like, how do you see yourself? What's your priority aside from your family, obviously?
Yeah, so I guess the quick answer is I always say I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur who happens to have a honey company, but my main goal right now and my main time is spent on real estate. That's my main career, and my bread and butter, of course. And then I'm a mom as well, and so I always talk about my kids and how that's a part of my family and entrepreneurial lifestyle. So it's never a straight answer. It's always like, well, which version of Marina do you want? And I'll give you that
one. Fair enough. Well, let's talk about the kids, because I remember what it was like having my first kid as I was trying to get my real estate business off the ground, and it was extremely challenging for not just me but for my wife. It was, especially with your first kid, you don't know what to expect, right? So we were wildly unprepared financially and mentally. Walk us through some of the challenges that you've had being a mother and launching a real estate career.
Totally. So for perspective, January 2020, I had my second kid, which is a daughter. So I got licensed in March, April. So she was 4 months old. And I was just doing the nap time hustle. Like, they're still newbornish. They're napping 4 times a day. And I would just like cram my courses during nap time. And then fast forward, by June, I got licensed. So she's 6 months at this age, but Ryan was home with me. My husband was home, and we were doing this multi-passionate entrepreneur dance together. So he would go to the apiary and handle the bees. I'd watch the baby and then flip and switch. And by the way, at the time we had a 5-year-old boy as well. So we've always had the two. And then he was going to preschool and now kindergarten. So it was like a much easier time in that sense. But we really just learned like, hey, I'm at capacity. I need dedicated work time and you need dedicated work time. So let's just do this shift thing. And it worked out really well. And then in the beginning, like, it's a grind. Like, you're going to have to put in extra hours, you're going to have to stay up late. And so if that means, okay, kids go down at 8 and I've got 2 more hours of work to do, then you figure it out and you get it done. But it was never a deterrent for me to start a career or a deterrent for me to be successful. It's like, okay, I'm in this situation. Let's make the most of it and make the best memories at the same time. So it's got to be like this family unit. We're all on this ride together, for sure.
You have this extreme determination to figure the shit out and to make it work. And not everyone has that. You see it with the agents on your team and agents that you're connected with. Not everyone has that. Maybe they're just unwilling to go through that, that period, that season of their life where it's a mess and they have no balance, and you're dropping shit. Like, it's crazy. Were you raised to see things through, or like, do you enjoy the challenges? Like, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, you have figured these things out like time and time again, and others aren't able to or aren't willing to. What do you think differentiates you?
Where do I don't know. It's something I'm never going to be a quitter.
I'm asking the hard-hitting questions here.
You're making me think. I'm never going to be a quitter, for one. And so if I do fail, it's that I knew I was willing to fail, number one. So accepting the risk of failure and like, I'm just going to give it my all and like see what happens. But I've never been one to not give it my all, because I knew it was it wasn't fair to myself if I didn't. It wasn't fair to my husband if I didn't give it my all. And I never really had like a thick safety net either. It's like, we've been self-sufficient, and if I didn't provide income or if Ryan didn't provide income, so backstory, he used to be Coast Guard. That was a really nice, comfortable paycheck every month. Like, we knew that money was coming. And then you go into entrepreneurship and you're like, wow, if I don't produce anything, I'm not putting food on the table and I'm not paying my rent this month. And you really figure it out. And I think just over the years, like you said, I haven't been doing entrepreneurship for like a new thing. This has been almost 15 years in the making. You build confidence over time and you prove to yourself that you can do hard things. And when those months are in the negative, and when those months are that you owe somebody big or like taxes are due, you just pull shit out of the WordWorks. I don't know. You find a way to make it work, but that's what builds the confidence to keep trying and keep being willing to fail, really.
I love that. And one of the coolest parts, Marina, is your kids are watching it. Like, your kids are watching you and your husband figure this out and bust your ass and build something meaningful, and it's cool. It's really cool. I just respect what you what you've built so much, and we've only known each other for a couple of years, but I mean, you've already become one of the top producers in Hawaii, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think that was actually really insightful too, because before you start in the industry, you look around at all these big numbers and big names, and I don't know, they just seem very threatening and like untouchable. And then you get in and you're like, okay, this isn't really that hard. Like, it's not complicated anyways. It's super simple. It does take hard work and hard effort. But once you get that snowball built and you get those first couple deals under your belt, like it's doable. And then you're like, wait, what is everybody else doing? Like, if I'm just doing this from like kind of trying hard, what if I actually went all 110% in? Like, I'd be untouchable. And if I didn't have kids, there's really no excuse. So it just makes you like open your eyes a little bit to the possibilities. And then it almost like that year too, I was like, wait a minute, these guys aren't even competition anymore. Like for me, it was all for my ego. I just had to beat these people or make these numbers and I'd be successful. Now it's quality of life. Like, okay, I know I can do X amount of deals if I just do the numbers. Like the math makes sense. You just have to put in the effort. After that, it's like, okay, well, now that we have that number, what do we want to do with our life? Like, what's the real quality? What's the day-to-day look like? How's dinner at the table look like? It really is big picture. So I want more agents to understand there's so much more than transactions in your life. Like, let's get clear.
Damn right. Yeah. There's plenty of agents that are only focused on those that do a lot of transactions, but they don't realize that that person that's selling, let's say 500 homes a year, works 100 hours a week. They're a horrible parent, horrible spouse. Maybe they've gone through multiple spouses because they're just married to working. And I mean, if you want that, cool, but I don't want that. I know you don't want that. And so it's refreshing when you can meet someone, meet others and see other leaders in our industry who are not horrible parents. Like they're great parents and they're there for their kids, yet they have these massive businesses selling hundreds, if not thousands of homes every year. And they're humans just like you and I. It's just choices. The difference between us is just choices, right?
Yep. 100%. It's like, what are you doing when you get home? Exactly. Right. So what are you working on? I know that you're obviously trying to sell more homes, but are you planning on building a sales team of your own? I know that you told me your title earlier with the Ferris Team Hawaii. You're running the show for the Ferris Team Hawaii, but are you planning on building that out? Are you, what's next for you in real estate aside from just selling more homes? Totally. And actually, I don't really want to sell a lot more homes, which is funny because you just did a podcast episode about that. Like, should you sell more homes? So last year I did 26 transactions and that was the best year I've ever made. That was the most money I've ever made in my life. And I was like, okay, I get it now. Like I see what this life is like. I don't really need to produce double that every year. Like if I can just sustain, like if I can get to 200K a year, I am happy. It's more than enough. And then on top of that, we have other ways to create revenue in our lives and I have multi sources of income. But really it's like the quality of life factor is huge. So yes, continuing to grow the Ferris team here in Hawaii. We're actively hiring, PS, if anyone else wants to join our team. But if we can really grow and scale that and then plant those seeds in other places of the country, that's really the big picture goal, is to have a multi-state network and a multi-country community to just really grow and help each other. That's the funnest part for me, is like teaching people. I love to mentor. I love to coach, really just giving back what I've learned through life and experiences. And it's not just business, but it's on the personal side too. There's so much of this business that's personal development related. And so just giving that back to people to help encourage them, inspire them, that's 110% what's fulfilling for me. But through real estate business, it's like, I don't need to crush the numbers. I need to fulfill the relationships. That's more important. Yeah.
So selling 100 homes by yourself per year it's not on your list of goals. No.
And I know I could, of course, but no. I mean, let's go back to July of 2022. I had 12 in escrow and I was a fucking crazy person. Like, I don't need to have that many in escrow at all times. I did have an assistant and I still do. But even then, it's like, yes, my team is showing for me now. I delegate all my showings out, but still there's just like a certain number of like, I shouldn't have my clients on a sticky note because I can't remember their name. That's just too much for my brain. And so I know, like, hey, 5 transactions a month is a really happy number for me. If I can just keep that going, I'm doing great. And from there, then the rest of my time is spent on the things that's really fulfilling to me. Like I said, that's the relationships, that's giving back, that's really helping our community grow.
That's awesome. And I mean, you sell 26 homes in Hawaii. That's like selling 50 homes in another market, in another average market. Like, what's your average price point?
It's like $1.05 million for a
for
single
you personally.
Family. Oh, for me? You mean for this,
Okay.
like where I'm at? Yeah. So median price point is probably 800,000 for my clients, but for the area, single family is like $1.05 million for a single family.
Not a bad market to start out in. That's great, and that's important too, because I know that I know you understand this, but I don't think a lot of agents think about it consciously. It's not necessarily about the number of homes sold. It's about the income, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, you're rewarded. It's rewarding to sell homes to clients and help them to achieve this huge milestone in their lives. It's super fulfilling. It's amazing. But like you said, you get to a certain point where it's too much, and you're fully comfortable with like, okay, this is what I need income wise, and you're totally fulfilled by it. And I respect the shit out of that, because you're not chasing some metric that the industry tells you is important.
Mm-hmm. Which I've also recently accepted that all of those charts and stuff are usually off, especially for team members, like the ones that they're reporting for the top agents. Like they don't even count the team agents. It's so weird. And so it's totally a fluke. Don't fall for the charts, guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There are so a little inside baseball. There are so many like accounting gimmicks and like different ways to calculate shit, and like what's considered a team versus a teamerage versus like it's ridiculous. And it's very much a game, and that's fine. It is what it is. But most agents just get caught up in the bullshit, and they're like, oh, I sold 40 homes, but I'm not happy. I need to sell 80 or I'm a loser. And it's like, well, if you're not there, if you're not able to go to your kid's soccer game, yeah, you're kind of a loser. I don't give a shit how much money you made. There's just more to it than that. And so I love talking with people like you who see it that way. And you're around people that see it that way. And let me say this about this culture that you've built within the Ferris team. I'm connected with a few hundred agents, within our team, and you guys by far have the highest retention. Like in the collab in general, and then the Ferris team, you guys just keep agents and they produce. Yeah. You guys have this machine. So what the hell are you guys doing? What is it about the culture you've built within the collab and the Ferris team that keeps people and gets them producing and selling homes so fast?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it goes back to having a servant-led heart and a mission too, for sure. So once you get to a point of being content with yourself and you're not chasing the ego game, you're all about giving back, right? And so for me, I know like, hey, I can hunt and fish for myself if I have to, but I would much rather give it back almost. It's like, I know I can meet my quotas, like that's no problem, but now I want all my teammates to meet their quotas and exceed that. I want everyone on my team and in our organization to make the most money they've ever made in their life too. We have agents who are still in credit card debt, or they haven't been financially responsible in the past, but now they're on the path to fixing it. I want to be part of that journey and really help inspire them and like get them out of those holes and be profitable. Like that's the whole point of this. Make profitable businesses. Like we're not in this rat race to break even. We want to definitely like have sustainable income, step back from the rat race and actually enjoy life. And you can do that. You just have to tap in with the right people. It really is true.
Absolutely. Well, the proof is in the pudding. You guys have certainly built a machine that is working well. It's impressive. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you knew that, but from what I see, your team is just firing on all cylinders, and it's cool. It's really cool to see. Yeah. When let's go back to being an agent and being a mother, being a parent in general. I mean, you don't know what it's like to be a father, but let's talk about being a mother. What have been some of the hardest things that any aspiring agent who's also a mother needs to consider? Maybe they're about to have their first kid, or they're just trying to figure out how to be successful and juggle parenthood. How have you done it? What are some of those daily things that you do? Like, how do you structure your day? help out the mothers who just don't have it figured out like you do quite yet?
I think being proactive is 110% huge. You have to think like 5, 6 days, hours ahead always. And so you're almost like, okay, if this shit happens in this, and if this thing happens in that, and you just have like 3 backup plans for every situation. But then as you grow and you learn together with your child and with your spouse, then you start to realize, okay, the likelihood of all of these things happening is either true or false. And then by the time you get to the second kid, instead of leaving the house, I think there's some diaper commercial where like the first kid, you have like 50 things in your diaper bag. And by the second one, you just have a diaper and a thing of wipes. Like that's all you need. It's so true with doing business that way and just doing life and family together that way. It's in the beginning, yes, you over prepare, right? So you prepare for disaster at all times. But then in the second time, and the more you do it, you start to realize like there's so many factors outside of your control. Just control what you can control. And then always be communicating. Like that's one of the things I think just on a marriage level too, of like, you have to share what's on your plate. You have to say like, hey, I'm about to freaking explode unless I get these things delegated or someone else helps me with this stuff. But I think as women, so often we just keep piling it on because we want to please other people. We want to feel like we're taking care of everybody. And then internally, like we are dying and we are about to freak out. And then at the end of the day, the last thing they want is for our husbands to cuddle. And I feel for the husbands. But it's because we try to carry it all, and it's not our job to carry it all. We're supposed to share the burden, you know? And so that communication factor is huge, but it's something as new parents, you're going to have to learn to walk the walk together and figure it out together as a couple. You're one team. And so always remembering team hat on, you know, it's not me versus him. We're not keeping score here. It's how do we get through this together?
Give some more tips on how you and your husband delegate certain things, how you communicate. You know, give us some tips on what you guys have learned along the way to be more effective in that regard.
Sure. I'm trying to think. So Ryan has always been like the outside man. Anything outside of the house, that's his domain. The yard, the garage, the cars, like that's his world. Whereas mine is definitely inside the home. So I'm taking care of the cooking and the cleaning. We do split the laundry, and actually if he notices that I'm getting overwhelmed, he'll volunteer and do the laundry, which I'm very thankful for him for having that insight. But I'm not going to lie, like we're not a perfect family. There's going to be weeks where we have 5 loads of laundry on the bed and it just keeps getting pushed around and stuff, and that happens too. But you go through seasons of life, and then he'll also like volunteer to do the dishes, or we just kind of like gauge each other as we go through marriage of who needs what when, and then communicating in advance. So part of that is the Sunday check-in. On a Sunday, we'll do the calendar for the week. If he's working, then I'll definitely be communicating to him via text, like, hey, these things are going on, like plan proactively for these things. And then we always have the family wall calendar in addition to the shared Google Calendar, iCalendar, so we can see what each other's doing. Does he want to see all of my real estate stuff? Hell no. That stresses him out. So we have a separate one that's like a home calendar and a work calendar. But if he needed to, I could definitely share that with him. But I think it's just, again, over communicating. Don't ever assume that your spouse knows what you need or what you think they need. Just say it. Just freaking say the things, and then you guys will be fine. But yeah, little things like that. I'm trying to think with the kids. Definitely, like if I've got a bunch of appointments or Zoom calls and stuff and the kids are home from school because it's a holiday, then Ryan will be proactive and take them out. He's going to take them to the playground. He's going to take them to the beach, or like do something family activity outside of the house. Otherwise, they're going to be crazy. And same thing, if I know he's going to be on work because he works 12-hour shifts right now, then I know that's mommy time. And so I plan accordingly for that in my calendar. I'm like, okay, Ryan's working from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. 3 days a week now. Then I have to figure out those 3 nights with me, and we just make it mommy time. Like it's a fun thing because we don't get daddy. So we just really proactively know, okay, schedule a week in advance. Let's rock this out. And then the days we have together, we make the most of them too.
There you go. I was going to ask you what you guys like. How far ahead do you plan the next week? Do you like the night before, you looking at the next day? Like how much communication are you guys doing with like, hey, here's what's going to happen tomorrow. Here's what's going to happen next week, just to get all your shit coordinated and figured out? Because I know a lot of people, and my wife and I were like this for a long time. We waited too long, and then they're like, well, shit, I can't go pick Kaya up from school because I have the society call or whatever. And so like we screwed that up enough, and we realized, oh, we should probably talk about it like a week before, and sharing calendars and, you know, all of that stuff. So talk more about that.
Yeah. I mean, the Sunday thing is it. Like literally Sunday, usually afternoon, because my 2-year-old still naps. That's my time. I bust out the wall calendar and the phone calendar together, and I'm just coordinating everything. And then I'm making sure, confirming that he's seen whatever I've input for the week. His schedule is pretty set, so he doesn't have a lot of these like floating alternatives that I do. But when stuff does pop up, because it inevitably will, I'm just making sure we're communicating like, hey, I know this day you said you had XYZ, but so-and-so's in town for showings. Like, I have to drop everything and do this. Either I'm going to try to delegate it to a team member first, or I do have in-laws here that are really helpful when it comes to watching the kids and stuff. And then backup, like, see, there's like 3 levels here of delegation, like emergency support here. Then I will call in like a care.com sitter or the best friend that lives close by. Like, I'll figure out something, but it's always to say like, I know we had a plan. So-and-so is changing, confirming you're receiving this message basically. And now let's plan and attack it together.
You're resourceful, right? That's why you get shit done, is because a lot of people like, well, I don't have a babysitter, so I can't do that thing. But you figure it out. Like, there's care.com, there's neighbors, there's in-laws, there's friends, there's, yep. You just don't let it stop you. And that's really cool. Mm-hmm.
And just power of churches. Churches love to watch kids. I'm just saying. There's always the aunties at the churches. Right. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Absolutely. Did you have a nanny or anything like that, or do you plan to anytime in the future?
No, we never did. And I think that's just coming from a place of where I wanted to be really present with our kids and have them along this entrepreneurial ride with us. So that's where we've done a really good job of doing the intentional, I'm going to call it shift parenting, of this is mommy time, this is daddy time, this is together time, and making sure that it works with the schedule. But for as long as we've had kids, there's always been one of us usually with them. And really, it's only if the in-laws are unavailable, then I'll hire help. But it gets expensive too. So even just having like our 2-year-old in preschool, that's like almost $2,000 a month, And if you have multiple kids under age 5 that you're trying to find care for, it gets super expensive. And then you start to weigh for the pros and cons of cost for my dollar per hour versus hiring somebody. And instead, I could just delegate stuff out and still get everything done. So, and then I'm still home for dinner. It's just, you got to think smarter, not harder.
Right. I love it. And you also have been doing YouTube very consistently, right? Like, weren't you telling me you've been getting a bunch of business from YouTube videos? Yep.
So I started January 2021. And this was like 6 months into the industry. I was like, everyone's saying videos where it's at. I'm used to and comfortable with Instagram stories, but I've never done a long form video before. And so I was like, you know what, let's just try it. And I did a whole series to start the channel just out of like, here goes, like, let's see what happens basically. Fast forward a couple months, got my first client and I was like, damn, this shit works. And they love me. Like, it was just such like an aha moment. And then fast forward, I've been consistently doing one video every single week and I batch it all together. So I film all 4 videos in one session, which usually takes me 2 to 3 hours with the videographer. That's my content for the whole month. And then my assistant does the uploading and everything for me, so I don't have to touch it. But yeah, it's amazing. A YouTube client is unlike any other lead source out there where they are literally your super fans. And when they meet you, they're like, I can't believe I'm meeting Marina. And I'm like, guys, it's just me. I'm not with fancy. But it's just like, it's this credibility and authority that you don't get on any other platform. It's crazy.
1,000%. Well, that's how I felt when I first met you in September, if we're being totally honest. So I had the same fanboy moment with
Weird.
But
it's like,
yeah, you're doing so awesome on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right. What would you have done differently? So let me reword this. What do you know today that you wish you would have known when you first started out as an agent 2.5 years ago?
So many things. One, trust your gut, because when you're out there interviewing and you're talking to different companies, if it feels weird, it probably is weird. And like looking around at the culture and the people in the offices, because it says a lot about the people. And then secondly is like, know what you're good at and own it. It's still taken me up to now to like really be confident in my skills and to say I am a top producing agent. Like, hell yeah, because it's still fresh to me. But I'm like, everyone has been telling me these things about how cool I am apparently, and I don't believe it internally. Like, it takes so much work to like talk yourself up that you are what people say you are. It's so weird. But like, own it. And like, you come from other professions, you have other skill sets and assets. So be proud about it and share about it and teach other people about what you're good at, you know? That's part of it. And then I think it's just don't be afraid to fail and actually try the things that people are telling you to do. Because I still talk to my mentees now and I say, get on video, get on video. Here's 3 ideas to post today. And then crickets. Nobody will actually post the freaking stuff. So it's just like, just fail forward. Just try it.
I mean, that's it. That's how we learn anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I don't know if you saw this, but in the society Facebook group, I posted the first video that I ever made back in, I think, 2012, and it is so cringe. You haven't seen that yet?
No.
You got to see that. I'm wearing a freaking name tag. I look like I'm 12 years old. But
awesome.
I'm reading a script, and it's so obvious that I'm reading a script, and it's so god-awful, but that's where I started. And if you're willing to suck for a little bit, you go through enough reps where you just get better. Like the first time you showed a property and were walking through with a client, it was probably a shit show, right? You're like, or the first time you wrote an offer, you probably like didn't check a few boxes or something. Yeah. You just learn through doing. And, you know, and look at you now, selling a bunch of homes, top producer, YouTube star. And I mean, and now reaching out and helping.
I was going to say, I have a challenge for you guys that want to.
Sorry, what was that?
Forward. I have a challenge if you want to fail forward. When I started TikTok early last year, so this is like January 2022, I was like, okay, this is the year I'm going to get into TikTok. So I did 3 pieces of content for a whole month. So 90 pieces in 30 days. And I went from 0 to 2,000 followers within those 30 days or whatever. And then after not asking for anything for the whole first, like probably 3 months of just educating, sharing value, talking about my life in Hawaii, I finally said, okay, guys, I have this new loan program. Let's do a webinar. I got 45 people to sign up. Like, that's insane to me that you could just like make short form content and like finally ask for something. And everyone's like, yes, tell me more. I'm here. Sign me up. Here's my email. Here's my phone number. Like everything. I was just like, wow, this shit is crazy. But again, I was willing to fail. I was willing to make a fool of myself, make stupid trending stuff. I don't know. I didn't dance, but there's so many different ways to do it. So I just encourage you guys, like, literally go for it. Like, what do you have to fail? Your own ego. That's it. It's just go get it.
That's it. Well, okay. So we need to talk about this before we jump into the rapid fire questions and wrap this thing up. This webinar you did. Okay, talk us through the webinar. What was, you mentioned it's for a new loan program, but you got 45 people. If you're on stage in a room with 45 people, that is not a small crowd. Like that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And so I think this idea right here, once you describe it and walk us through it, is going to open eyes like, oh my God, like here's something else I could do as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like every week there's some new loan program that comes out or some new incentive to get buyers into the market. And this was a 100% financing loan for the FHA. One of my lender partners had sent me an email and she's like, hey, this thing just hit our company. We're the first ones to have it in Hawaii. And so I jumped on it. I was like, oh my gosh, tell me more. What is this thing? So I just figured out like the top 3 to 5 things that were the benefits of this program. Because I'm not the lender, let's be clear. It was my job to just share education for an invitation to find out more. And so I literally just did that, like with the camera. Hey guys, this is Marina. I just want to let you know about this new thing that just came out. If you want to know more, link is in the bio to sign up for the webinar. And then I'll send out a recording if you can't make it, because I realize people have lives and they're busy and stuff. And so I got so many people DMing me or just clicking the link, which is the Zoom webinar link, to do that. And then literally just hosted the lender on my Zoom call to say, okay, now that we're all in the room, here's my lender. She's going to tell you all these things and pros and cons. Should you do this? In the meantime, I'm going to set you guys all up on a home search. So everybody is getting the market updates and you're understanding how things are working in real estate. And I give like a mini buyer's consult during that Zoom call too. Here's the 5 steps to get pre-approved and get through a home, And then it's the follow-up game after that. Like, what did you think of the webinar? How did it go? Are we looking 6 months, 12 months? How are we feeling? And then the lender went to work, got a bunch of people pre-approved. A lot of it came down to affordability. And so it was really just determining what part of the timeline they're at in their journey. But it got people in the door and it got people asking questions and talking about it. Whereas previous to me doing that call out, who knows if those people ever would have thought they could afford a home in Hawaii. Like, the housing prices are astronomical for locals and just the working class. And so to say, hey, you can actually do this with 0% down and figure out how to utilize this FHA program today. So it's super good, super empowering. And just you just got to invite people to come. That's it.
Well, what grabs my attention is the simplicity of it. Like, you didn't create a fancy landing page. You didn't go do a bunch of graphics. Like, you didn't do all this stuff. You can do that stuff, of course. Mm-hmm. But you had a great hook. You said, hey, here's this thing. People wanted that thing. You drove them to Zoom, which I don't think most people know, but with Zoom, you can just go click a button in the like the meeting settings to force registration. Mm-hmm. And then that link is what you send out. Put in your swipe up, put in your, the link sticker in your story or whatever. And then they have to go register for the webinar. And then boom, you have their email address and Zoom takes care of the rest. And then you just show up and educate, and then follow up afterwards. So brilliant. Have you done any other webinar trainings like that?
I'm probably going to launch another one this week. Our lender just announced another program, different lender, different program, but it's super exciting. And again, it's just to help that first-time home buyer. That kind of stuff is really trendy, and people like to jump on it. For all the Zillow stalkers at night that are dreaming of the home, this is how to get that conversation started. For the people who think you need 20%, right? It's like, just get those people in the door. Just start the conversation of education, because they don't know what they don't know. And there's still so many stereotypes and so many miseducation going on out there that it's our job as realtors to share this information that we're learning as industry insiders. So you're doing your clients a disservice by not inviting them to the Zoom, by not sharing about your business and what you do. So super exciting about that stuff. But I wanted to say one thing that's awesome about just creating any kind of content is it becomes evergreen over time. So even though I made that thing a year ago, every now and then I still get a DM today. Hey, do you have the recording for this? I'm like, wow, it's still working. Like, you don't have to do anything after that. It just works on its own. It's amazing.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. I know I'm working on a bunch of webinar trainings for agents for this year. I was on a call with someone from a company that does self-directed IRAs, which, by the way, lets people use their retirement accounts to buy real estate. So It's like, if you knew that you could help people grab their retirement funds from their IRA and actually invest in real estate, how many more clients would you get, right? Just by teaching them these strategies. And so anyway, so there's a little teaser that's coming soon from us. But people, when you offer something that people want, like, hey, here, come learn about that thing, the people who show up are highly motivated, interested, and those are like the best prospects you could ever have. It's not just someone that clicked a Facebook ad because they wanted to see a picture of a house, right? It's very different. And so now you have all these prospects that you can, cultivate for years to come. And plus, it's just a great way to do what our job is, and that's to educate.
Yeah. And again, you're just opening the door to the conversation about educating them on stuff. So a big thing for a lot of these loan programs, like, it's kind of like a clickbaity title, right? Or a clickbaity hook. But then you're just getting them in to be like, tell me more about your situation. A lot of them need credit repair, right? So that tells me I need to make more content about credit repair, or I need to tell you the best ways to increase your credit score over a 6-month period. There's so many simple things that we think is obvious, but to the person who is struggling to pay month to month, they don't even think that way. They're not there yet financially or mentally to like have that education or to think to go Google these things. But if you're the one consistently showing up in their feed, helping them, getting them from step to step to step, and then all of a sudden their auntie says, oh, I need to sell my house. Guess who they're going to refer, by the way, even if they're not physically ready, their family could be ready. And so again, it's just being that person in their circle that's inspiring them, advising them, so that when the time comes, they're thinking of you.
I love it. Well, I could talk to you for another hour, but we should probably wrap this up because I know you've got a life to live as well, and a business to run, and a family to raise. So every time we have a guest on, we do these rapid fire questions. So let's blow through those. And then at the end, I want you to let everyone know where they can connect with you, talk to you, learn from you, just be part of what you're doing, watch your YouTube videos, because you're doing such a great job there. So we'll do that right after these. So if you are ready, Marina, the rapid fire questions, let's do them.
Ready as we'll ever be.
All right. So either or questions. You don't need to elaborate unless you want to. You can just pick one or the other. Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram for sure.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram still. I think I'm stuck on it.
Okay. Instagram or YouTube?
It depends. Both. I'm going to say why. So YouTube for business for sure. Instagram for relationships.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Books or podcasts?
Podcasts.
Podcasts or audiobooks?
Podcasts. For sure.
Rental property or flipping?
Rentals all day.
Nice. Burgers or pizza?
Pizza. Easy.
New York or LA?
I've never been to New York, but I'm going to go LA just because I've heard New York is smelly and LA is not really that smelly.
Oh, you
true?
heard wrong. LA stinks. Stinks. It depends on where you're at. But yeah, New York stinks. Yeah. Fair enough. NFL or NBA?
Kind of neither, but if I had to pick NBA, go Warriors.
No. Warriors. All right. Mountains or beach?
Do you have to ask? Beach for sure, but I have best of both worlds. So the beach is 10 minutes, the mountain's 10 minutes that way, so I got it made.
Yeah, I was impressed. Like most people think of Hawaii as, the beach, but then you have these giant green rolling mountains just like right there too. It's at least on Oahu. I need to see the rest of the islands, don't I? What's your favorite Hawaiian island?
Ugh, I'm so torn. I think if my soul had to choose right now, it'd probably be the Big Island. And it's just because they still have open country, open space. You can road trip over there. Whereas like Oahu is pretty much a whole city at this point. There's nowhere you can escape on Oahu.
Okay. I've heard many Hawaii locals say that the Big Island's their favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I think most say that.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible over there.
That's
you
pretty
literally
telling.
get every single climate zone. It's insane.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I need to do that. I think it'd be cool to do, my wife and I were talking about this the other day, doing like a Hawaiian cruise. We love cruising to begin with, but then being able to like sample each island, I think would be kind of a cool way to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't, but it's not expensive to island hop either. It's literally like $50 a flight. So you can do it all on flights too. Mm-hmm.
Oh God, that's awesome. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It beats the shit out of flying from the mainland to Hawaii. Podcast or vlog?
Podcast still. I always see vlogs on YouTube, but I never actually watch the whole thing. They just talk forever.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. YouTube or Facebook Live?
YouTube. Searchability factor, for sure.
Ooh, great point. Great point. Yep. Great reminder. YouTube is a search engine, not a social network. Mm-hmm. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Millionaire Real Estate Agent?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Again, going back to the rentals. Yep.
Love it. Uber or Lyft?
Uber. Which is a funny thought. It really is just
Gary V or Grant Cardone?
Gary V.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very popular choice here on the show. Love it. Marina, where is the best place for people to watch you, find you, connect with you, just learn more about you?
Yeah, I'm most active on Instagram still. I post to stories pretty much daily, if not multiple times daily. So you'll get glimpses of my life in Hawaii. You'll get glimpses of the real estate business and little family stuff. And then YouTube for sure. If you want to see what my videos are doing, just look up my name. It's Marina Tolentino. I should say for Instagram, Marina T Tolentino _ because somebody else had my name. And then all of those channels interlink to each other. You can find my TikTok through there too. But yeah, I'd say Instagram if you want to hang out. Don't be afraid to reach out to DMs. I'd love to connect. Yeah.
Awesome. And as always, we will have all of your social links in the show notes if you're listening, and if you're watching, it'll be in the YouTube description over on the BAM channel. Marina, thank you so much for coming on the show. Keep kicking ass. And I don't know if you see yourself as a leader quite yet, but you certainly are. You're leading by example, and it's pretty cool to see. So I appreciate you coming on the show, and I'm sure you're going to inspire a lot of people with just how you're living your life and how you're building your career.
Yeah. And it's so fun getting to work with you too and doing the things that we do. So 2023 is going to be awesome. I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Make sure you guys click into the show notes if you're listening to the podcast. Go connect with Marina on social media. Follow her. Go watch her YouTube videos. See how she's doing it. I mean, she's getting all of these clients from YouTube. And, you know, the proof is in the pudding. Like, we talk about this all the time. This game is not hard. It's simple. Okay. Success in real estate is simple. Other people are already winning at the level you aspire to win at. Go watch what they're doing, take notes, dissect it, figure out how they're doing that, and then do those things. So go watch Marina's YouTube channel and find out what she's doing, and then you can do it your damn self. You just do what she's doing with your own spin on it. That's all she's doing anyways, is she's doing what works with her own spin on it. And then she attracts clients that want to work with her, and you can do the exact same thing. So follow in her footsteps, go connect with her immediately, and you'll be glad you did. And if you're watching the YouTube video, click into the description. If you're watching the YouTube video, by the way, you're probably watching this a day early. This podcast for 5 years has come out every Thursday morning, and it will continue to come out every Thursday morning, but the video is actually dropping a day early every Wednesday now on the BAM YouTube channel. So if you're watching on YouTube, click into the description, get Marina's social media links and all of that good stuff. And last call to action before it closes, before the Massive Agent Society closes on February 1st, make sure you register, see why we've more than doubled our membership of other agents, like-minded, growth-minded, entrepreneurial agents just like you in just the last 2 months. We've more than doubled in just the last 2 months. And this is your last chance for a while to join while registration's open. Just go to www.massiveagentsociety.com and join. I'm excited to meet you in there, excited to see you there. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone. Please share it with another mother in the industry that you know is struggling or that needs some tips on productivity. Share it with anyone you feel would get value. It helps us to grow the audience. It helps other agents who maybe don't have access to this information within their team or their brokerage, or they just don't know about this podcast. Help them out. And I will keep coming back every single week with a new episode. Thank you so much for listening.